Halloween H20 is essentially a Halloween sequel that ends up becoming a crossover of Jaws, because it's like Michael Myers in the water trying to kill Laurie, and then Jaws shows up, you know, Halloween H20. It was bound to happen. Huh? Oh, H20. Whoops. Halloween H20, 20 years after the original. Time for me to finish this franchise off. I reviewed the 6th one on like October, actually on Halloween I think. And I decided now, might as well just finish it off and get rid of it. But first I gotta take this off. I actually can't breathe. Yay. How many videos have I sat here and talked with this mask kind of like on my hand like a puppet? I remember back when I did the videos with Patrick, I don't know if I quite did that. That was so long ago too. What was that, like 2011? So Halloween H20. It stars Jamie Lee Curtis, Josh Hartnett, Michelle Williams, and I'm going to do a spoiler alert now because I want to talk about one or two cameos that are, like one's a cameo, one's actually an acting role. But if you haven't seen the movie, I don't want to spoil it, so I'll talk about those right off the bat before we get into anything. First off, you get a small role by Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Okay, this was like right after Third Rock from the Sun, before he was in like Brick or anything that made him a big star. And he's basically, he's the first kill where he gets a hockey skate to the head, like buried in his skull. And when I first saw him, I'm like, oh hey, that's Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And they're like, ah. And I was like, oh, he's got a hockey stick. He wants to kick Michael Myers' ass with a hockey stick. And I was like, oh god, he's got a skate in his head. And I thought that was pretty brutal in a good way. And then later you get a cameo from Janet Leigh, Jamie Lee Curtis' mother, who is obviously the star of the original Psycho. And she even has the Psycho car in that scene where she shows up. You got music kind of referencing Psycho, so that was a lot of fun. And it was also written by Kevin Williamson, who has written the Scream movies, so you get some kind of postmodern jokes at Halloween, which made it fun, because even though it's boring, you get some funny jokes at times. And that's kind of why the movie feels cleverly written, as opposed to the last 5 movies that were just atrocious. The story is essentially, take Halloween 3 all the way up to number 6, and throw them out the window. They never happened. We want to move on without those crappy movies clouding your mind, like, hey, yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis, you know what? A couple movies ago, he was chasing his niece. Whatever happened to her? Shouldn't she be talking about that? Or like, yeah, Michael, he's pretty scary. Oh, God, remember that time when he raped and impregnated his niece? It was like, no, take all that stupid crap, the Stonehenge rock Halloween masks that turn children into a pile of guts and bugs. No, that's all gone. We took it out back and we shot it. Okay, we're moving on. And originally there was actually a reference where Jamie Lee Curtis finds out her daughter died, which would have been like Halloween 6. She finds it out, so she like throws up or whatever. But then they were like kind of, no, just reference, she faked her death in a car crash, which is kind of a reference to the 4th. But aside from that, no, none of that happened. And you know what, I'm very happy to say that. Because you know what, Danielle Harris, I really liked her in number 4 and 5. But you know what, those movies overall were pretty crappy, so ignoring all that, I'm very happy to. Let's move on. And so Jamie Lee Curtis, her character Laurie, is like, what would she be like 20 years later? Well, she's a wreck. She's an alcoholic. She's got a son that she's very overprotective to. Her son Josh Hartnett, this was kind of, I think this was before he was a big star and then completely disappeared. Yeah, whatever happened to him? He went on to do like Hollywood Homicide, Black Hawk Down, and like Lucky Number 11 might have been the last time he was in a good movie, possibly. And you know what? I kind of like Josh Hartnett. I never hated him. I didn't think he was like ever a great actor, but you know, he was a fine actor. He could have been in more stuff. What else? I think it was Black Dahlia. That's the movie that kind of killed his career. Yeah, that was a bad movie. And you got Michelle Williams as his girlfriend. Michelle Williams, okay, frickin' Blue Valentine, that's the movie I always go back to. Like, she's a great actress just because of, like, that's the one I can name off the top of my head, but she's in a lot of other movies where she's a great actress, but that's the one, Blue Valentine. And also, who else did you get? You got Adam Arkin, who, he's related to Alan Arkin in some way, and he's not very good in this movie because he's not very much needed. You got LL Cool J, you know, he was fine in the movie, I gotta say. But for the most part, this movie is all about Jamie Lee Curtis. It's about her. It's basically a character study of her for most of the movie. Like, you get a kill at the beginning, and then aside from that, move on, for the whole hour basically. It's a character study of Jamie Lee Curtis as like an alcoholic, overprotective mother, and how Michael Myers kind of weighs down on her everyday life, and especially around Halloween where she just loses and is kind of a crazy woman. The movie's basically her fight to put her past behind her and just move on. And so that's kind of, if you're coming into this like, alright, can someone die every 10 minutes, then you're going to be very disappointed. You'll probably be pretty bored. And if you're coming in for a really like involving drama that keeps you interested, it's not exactly that good. Like, it's drama and I like some of it, but I really think they should have sped it up and got to some more kills, because it's essentially the last 20 minutes or so you get kills, and while they're very good, like that last 20 minutes is pretty intense, it should have gotten to it sooner. Because I love Jamie Lee Curtis. I'll watch her act all day. She's so great in these movies, in any movie. She's awesome. But like, to just keep going like, yes, 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 drama, drama, drama. Can we move it on a little bit, please? And this movie's directed by Steve Miner, and what did he make? He made Soul Man, which is C. Thomas Howell. What was that about? That's that movie where he pretends to be black, he does blackface, he's walking around in a giant pimp suit eating watermelons. What a... That movie's so offensive. Oh god, that movie. Soul Man. Good job, Hollywood. You made that movie a hit, idiots. He made Friday the 13th Part 2 and 3, the first two movies to have Jason Voorhees. And you know, those movies were kind of amateurish, direction-wise and just overall. And he got a lot better for these movies. Like, he's a good director where it's like, yeah, those first two Friday the 13th, like 2 and 3, those were pretty amateur. And this is like, yeah, he's a good director. They do try to keep the tension up most of the movies. Like, keep tension. Michael Myers will walk kind of, he'll be in the background and then gone, kind of like referencing the old movie. And it's trying to stay in that sort of vibe of how that movie kind of took a long time to get to the horror too. But this one just doesn't quite do it as well. But I gotta say, that last 20 minutes or so, you get some good kills. It's pretty intense. And Jamie Lee Curtis finally facing off with Michael Myers, like actually facing off. Like, it's Laurie Strode taking on Michael Myers. She grabs an axe and she's just gonna go take it to him. I love all that. I think it's very satisfying as an end. If this had been the last Halloween movie ever, I would have been satisfied, because, yeah, the build-up's a little boring, but you know what? The end result and what you get is very, very satisfying, and I loved it. Halloween H20 has some good performances. Jamie Lee Curtis finally taking on her brother Michael Myers and just ripping them apart and going head-to-head. That's what you want to see, and they do that very well in this movie. I enjoy a lot of it. You know, the writing's not exactly perfect. Like I said, it's kind of slow-moving, but when it gets to the good parts, you have a lot of fun. So I give Halloween H20 a B-. If you like this review, like or subscribe. Comment below, tell me what's your favorite horror movie killer antagonist. Like, who's the person that's like, you know what, Jason, Michael, Freddy, whatever, I'm going to take it to you. And I'm going to rip you a new one. Because that's interesting when you see that. Because in this one, at a part, you got Josh Hartnett walks up to Michael Myers and starts punching him in the face. You know what, Michael? You know what, Uncle Mike? I'm going to pop you. And then just slugs him in the face, like rocked in the mush. Like, that's funny. And Jamie Lee Curtis doing that, she might be my favorite for, like, the one that's taking on the killer and putting it to him. But other ones would be like, Jason had a couple. He had Corey Feldman's Tommy Jarvis, because they did Tommy Jarvis like 3 different movies, but Corey Feldman's was my favorite out of those. And Freddy, he had a couple. So like, who's your favorite person that took it to the killer and like whooped their ass? Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.